as you drive about town on 93.3 Real Talk Radio, and for watching on Warchant TV. Hello to those of you doing exactly that, and all of you in the Heisen Legal Law Firm chat room. We appreciate that. Never forget, Heisen Legal Law Firm dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Heisen Legal Law Firm, 813-803-0733. It's a free consultation, no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Heisen Legal Law Firm. Name you can trust for justice, 813-803-0733. You can also visit the website, HeisenLegalLawFirm.com. Heisen Legal Law Firm, your advocate in times of need, offices Tampa. I'll welcome him in. There's my cohort, T. Lizzie, producer extraordinaire. You are still a producer extraordinaire, but I'm producing my own show these days, Tom, so I can call myself a producer extraordinaire.
I'm just kind of the guy who's along for the ride right now. It would be like if Tiger Woods carried his own bag and he was just walking down with Joe. But Joe gets to hit a couple of shots.
Yeah. Joe gets to hit a couple. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair, by the way. Hey, yesterday on the show, I should have addressed this a little bit more significantly, I suppose, because as the day wore on, once we got past the middle portion of the day, which is when this show is on live, obviously, it seemed to have some, a little bit more gravitas to it. I heard it mentioned nationally, and then I also saw people talking about it on our message boards, warchant.com. If you're not a subscriber, what are you waiting on? Football's nearly here. Let's go. And I know Ira addressed it on those boards, or at least linked to where it started from. And that is the idea of Florida State, along with Clemson, perhaps going to the Big 12, or the Big 12 offering a potential landing spot for Florida State. And I actually had some real thoughts on this. I didn't address it at the time yesterday because, frankly, I didn't think it warranted it. But I suppose that anything that involves Florida State and potentially leaving this conference and going to any other conference does require me to address it, and I should address it. And I'll give you my thoughts here. I felt like this was a plant story given to Ross Dellinger because of his relationship with the Big 12 commissioner. Now, Ross, I know Ross Dellinger not well. I like him. I respect him, more importantly. He's a very, very good journalist. There aren't that many left, and he's a good one. So he doesn't run with nonsense, and I don't think he just takes handouts like, hey, here's a story, but understand that in the media world, and we operate this way in really all walks of life, there is an element of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours to everything that goes on here, which is if there is a morsel of information that is maybe a story worthy, it could be handed to any number of journalists, but usually it's handed to ones that A, are respected, and B, you have a relationship with. It's like anything else. You can hire any number of people. I'll give you a good example. I just got done getting a new drain field and a septic tank, fix up, if you will. Miller Septic did the job. They're advertisers on this show. I know Greg personally, and I recommend him. But there are like 25 people who will do drain fields and septic tank things, but I go to Greg. I know him. Does a good job. It works the same way in media. There's a story. There's something here. Who do I trust to get this right? Oh, I'm good friends with Ross. He does good work for Yahoo. I'll hand it to him. Okay, so Ross is going to, note that. He's asked a question and he answers it. I think it's partially true in the sense that the Big 12 would love to have Florida State, love to have Clemson, would love to continue to bolster their conference. They've been very aggressive. In fact, their motto is, of course, we're open for business. They're letting everybody know very publicly, hey, come on down. If you're interested, we're here to listen. I mean, this would be like a case of tampering in the open. It's just like we're letting you know, yes, we're coming for your teams. If your conference is half-stepping and not providing what these teams, these programs need, we would like to talk to them because you've fallen asleep on the job. And we don't plan on getting left behind any further. We're going to do the best we can to compete with the Big Two. We know that, or the Power Two as they're now called, we know we're at a disadvantage, but any chance we get to bolster our roster of programs that gives us a fighting chance to someday turn this into a Power Three, we're going to do it. And it would be a huge, huge get. It would be a massive asset for the Big 12 to announce at any point that they've got agreements with Florida State and Clemson, throw in North Carolina, Miami, and Virginia. Who knows? It'd be huge because I think once the ACC begins to crumble, that is exactly what the Big 12 is going to do. They are going to provide a landing spot for the other ACC members that are going to flee like rats on a sinking ship once Florida State is out, once Clemson is out. That conference at that point will have had the legs cut out from under it. It will have no cachet in the football world, and those programs will flee, and they'll go to the Big 12. And I think that's a potential landing spot for Louisville. I think it's a potential landing spot for several programs not named Florida State and Clemson, because what Ross Dellinger also said when asked about that is, I only think that it's a third-rate option for Florida. I'm paraphrasing, for Florida State and Clemson. It's not their plan. It's not what they're endeavoring to do. There's no agreement. There's not even a wink, wink, nod, nod. There's just sort of an understanding that if things don't go well in your effort to get into the Big Ten or your effort to get into the SEC, that is to say, Fox or ESPN, perhaps don't claim those assets that they want from the ACC, which I think they will, but let's say they don't for whatever reason, they agree to stand pat, then you have a home here in the Big 12. That's what the commissioner was basically telling Ross Dellinger was, hey, just so you know, we'd love to have Florida State and Clemson. From Florida State's standpoint, you would want that information leaked. You would want that known that you have a place to go. It doesn't hurt your cause to get it out there. In fact, it might even pressure Fox and ESPN a little bit further than you already have. You might in some ways love the idea that this story came out yesterday that the Big 12 is saying, we'd love to have you and your friend too. Come on down. This thing's going up. Things are looking up in the Big 12. We got a strong commissioner. We just added a bunch of teams. Our profile is ever expanding. Nah, we can't give you the same kind of television money that you're going to get if you somehow make it into the SEC or the Big Ten, but we're the next best thing. We're surpassing the ACC. The Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore. Come on over, baby. Where else you going? And that's fine. That's fine. I think that was always going to be the case, whether it leaked or not. I believe that was always out there. It's just common sense that the Big 12 wants to do that. Basically, I'll go back to what I said before. When Florida State filed suit, they did so, I believe, when they did it, partially because they had an understanding. A wink, wink, nod, nod, not official, nobody wants to get sued, understanding with Fox or ESPN about where they would go if they could get out from the ACC contract and the grant of rights and all of that. If they could find their way out, they had an offer. Now, the rumors have been that that offer was from the Big Ten, from Fox, who wants to obviously establish Southern connections. They go coast to coast. They'd have everything from one coast to the other, and they'd have the Midwest to boot. A national conference. They want to plant a flag in the SEC's backyard and gain assets, unique television assets like Florida State, who is, and we talked about this once before. I told you about my buddy on the inside at ESPN who sent me a graph of the way that television partners view Florida State, where they are. There's tier one. There are only a few teams there. We're not in it. But we're with the next tier, the second tier of elite programs like Oklahoma and other big names. You guys remember we had this conversation. If you don't, go back and listen. I mentioned us in the same breath as some of the biggest names in college football history, just a notch below a Notre Dame or an Alabama, those kinds of teams that are on a tier above Florida State. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but we understand it, okay? Fox would love to do that. My only question, and I believe they've offered Florida State, I believe there's an understanding, if you will, with Florida State, and perhaps Clemson on the horizon as well. Who knows? We have, obviously, we're not in a position to say yes. We're not in a position to guarantee that we'll take that offer. We're not in a position to say, yeah, we're coming here as soon as we get out from under this. Don't you worry. I think the smart play, like any business, is you're trying to leverage one against the other. Who's going to give you the best offer? The rumor was that offer from Fox, from the Big Ten, was similar to what they did with Washington and Oregon. And go back and look at those terms. Not ideal. Not ideal. Now, they had Washington and Oregon kind of bent over a barrel. The Pac-12 was floundering, was falling to pieces right before their very eyes. People were literally, as I said earlier, they were rats fleeing the sinking ship. Teams had to have somewhere to go. They were all vying for a better place. And they were in the position, perhaps, at that point to maybe have to take a lesser than deal. And so they did. They did. They said, fine, you know what? We got to land somewhere. And eventually we'll make the kind of money. We'll get paid full freight in a few years. And in the interim, we just got to wear a beating here compared to our counterparts in the conference and not take full share. But we're not going to get left out in the cold. We're going to eat from the money trough too someday. So we'll accept that kind of offer. Florida State, I've said all along, is going to be in a better position when they do leave because I think they're going to get full freight right from the jump. You want the fight to be going on right now between those two power conferences. You want ESPN and Fox to fight for the asset so that you're in a position to say, well, you know, if you're offering me half, no, I'm going there. They're offering me full, or they're covering the costs of our expenses for this lawsuit or whatever it might be. And every week we hear another story involving Florida State and Clemson. Every week we hear another story about the way conference realignment's going to look a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Every week, those stories strike a chord with all of us as Noles because we're all very, very interested in how this game of Ring Around the Rosie ends up, right? We're all trying to figure out, what do we do here? When is it that we're leaving? How soon can we leave? We can't fall further behind. You know, those we seek to compete with in recruiting and on the field of play itself are all right here making a gazillion dollars all around us, but we're not. How long do we have to stay here before we get our piece and be able to fight a fair fight on a level playing field? And so I get it, man. I get why our fan base reacts to that piece of cheese that's dangled. We get it. I've gotten to where maybe I'm callous, maybe I'm jaded. I don't respond to those stories. So my bad yesterday. I should have responded to that story because Ross Dellinger is a respected journalist and people do listen when he speaks because he doesn't make things up. Ross is a really talented guy, and I've had a chance to get to know him. And so I'm not surprised that came out and that he was quoted. But to me, again, I think that the Big 12 was reaching out to try to get media and other ACC teams, not named Florida State and Clemson, interested in what they're going to be able to offer. They were basically, that story affects us because we're the biggest names that are on the block of conference realignment and television assets, and we're the remaining. There's only a few scraps left out there. I should probably rephrase that. There's only a few more important pieces still out there to be fought over. We're one of them. We're the top name being fought over. And so any kind of story like that comes out, we're like, wait, what's going on here? But I wouldn't fret. I think there's a lot of people using these opportunities to send messages, to try to garner leverage, to try to put pressure on decision makers. There are a lot of people in the Big 12 in particular that is letting it be known. And again, kudos to the Big 12. I said it on yesterday's program. That commissioner ain't fooling around. Bold, has a vision, cares deeply, and is throwing it out there to anybody who will listen. We get it. Not everybody's going to end up in the Big Ten or the SEC. And if you don't, and you've got cachet, come on over to the Big 12. Let's get it on. Let's make this thing something special. We'll start on the fringes, but somewhere down the line, we'll be equal too. They got an outside shot. The Big 12 has an outside shot. If they grabbed a North Carolina, a Florida State, a Virginia, an NC State, a Miami, and Clemson and Florida State, to go with what they have, you'd be interested. You'd damn sure watch the Big 12. That wouldn't be a sorry television contract either. Down the line, you might have a little something there. So it's worth it to them. They should, if I were them, I would throw that out there. I'd be leaking stuff like this to journalists everywhere. I'd constantly be saying, we hear Florida State's interested. I'd just make it up. I'd lie about it every day. You'd catch me, Commissioner Cameron of the Big 12, walking down the street. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Good to see you too, sir. What's on your mind? God, I just heard a rumor that Florida State can't wait to join the Big 12. Good to see you, buddy. And I'd walk on down the road. I'd let everybody know. My waiter would come over. What can I get you? An ice cold beer. Hey, by the way, can you believe this? Clemson and Florida State want to join the Big 12. What do you say? What do you say, huh? Good day to be commissioner of the Big 12. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'd be making it up all along. It'd be great. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable. Here's what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
Surprising flavors, cultural authenticity, and unique adventures are some of the main ingredients that go into every single plate served at Café de Martín, Tallahassee's best Peruvian dining experience. Led by classically trained Chef Martín, passion for culture, passion for flavor, and a passion for people can be felt from the moment you step inside. Café de Martín also offers an unparalleled outdoor dining experience in the garden. Surrounded by vibrant flowers and plants and nestled between carefully curated decor, the shaded and breezy outdoor garden features elegant live music regularly, and the romantic evening lighting makes Café de Martín the best place to share conversation and connect with the ones you love. Every dish is made from scratch, and every drink is handmade by trained bartenders, offering the very best margaritas and old fashions in the city. Take a trip to a Peruvian paradise right here in the capital city. Visit Café de Martín and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Find the full menu online at cafedemartin.com.
At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we know if you have something in your home that's not supposed to be there, you want it gone now.
Not in a couple of days, not tomorrow, but today. That's why we offer a same-day guarantee.
If you call Paul's before 12, one of our technicians will be out before 5. We guarantee it.
The health of you, your family, and your pets is why we promise to do everything possible to quickly resolve your problem.
And we do so using the safest chemicals. Notice a pest problem?
Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control before 12, and we're there before 5.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
We're all spending more time at home than we ever have.
And our yards have become more than something we look at through the window. They are now a major part of our refuge.
Now that we're outside more, wouldn't it be great if we could eliminate the things that make us want to run back inside? Pests like mosquitoes and fire ants.
Paul's Pest Control can do just that. and we'll do it for a surprisingly low cost.
Our treatments are done outside. There is never a reason to enter your home.
The weather is beautiful, and now is the time to be outside.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control will help you take your yard back.
Call us for a free consultation.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to go, whoa, because it's fun. You know, Tom, what conference realignment discussion is like, what it reminds me of a little bit is the conversation everybody has. They say they don't do it and they don't sit around and think about it, but we all do to some degree. And that is like winning the lottery. That conversation, when you take Florida State and you plop them in the Big 12 or you plop them in the Big 10 or the SEC, you do all the things that you do when you talk about if you won the lottery. You're like, well, then I would do this. And then, what about this? And, wouldn't it be cool to do this? Same thing. You get popped in the Big 12. You're like, I don't want to be in the Big 12. Well, by the way, games at Colorado wouldn't suck, and we get to play so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. That's not terrible. You do that. You play the same thing. Then I would go this, and then the years that we play them there, that Utah game would be great. FSU, Utah, that's a good uniform game. And then you go through all the machinations like you do when you talk about winning the lottery. You don't really think it's going to happen, and you know it's probably not going to happen. In fact, it's still fun to kick around. It's still fun to just like, well, what road trip would you look forward to if we did go?
Agreed. I think for the people that are just joining us, you're correct in your assertions in the first segment about what Ross actually said, because if you're headline grazing, and that could be something like you see a headline on an ESPN.com or you see a tweet from a news outlet, but you don't actually click the article, so you get the gist of the juicy headline and the lead, but not the substance of it. Ross's quote is purely speculative, and it shows how far down the list the Big 12 actually is for Florida State and Clemson, because he calls it option 3. And option 2 for Florida State would be to still remain in the ACC, and they knock 8 teams out of the conference. And so they're down to 10. Like, they don't have the votes in the ACC to contract the conference they just added 3 teams to go down to 10. But what he was saying was, obviously for Florida State and Clemson, first option is to go to the Big Ten or the SEC. Number 2, ACC is in a smaller place. It's 10 teams, more money to go around for each team. And then if neither of those things work, well, there's only one power conference left. And that's what he says. There's only one other power conference league, and that's the Big 12. So just if you were only headline grazing, the substance is, man, that ain't even on the docket for Florida State.
Well, and this is what's maddening for people in the media business, myself included. If you take anything out of context and then you use that to as clickbait, as one listener is saying here in the chat, you can do that. You can do that, and people will click it. It's the off season, and it's a big story. Like, who gets these 2 remaining big-time assets is a big story. And so it's so easy, but it's all nonsense. And it's actually completely unfair. In fact, it's unfair to Ross Dellinger, who was not trying to clickbait. He was asked a question. He answered the question by saying, look, the first 2 options are the SEC and the Big Ten, of course. I mean, that's fairly obvious. And then if that doesn't work, if there was some scenario by which FSU could get like money while remaining in the ACC, I guess the only way that would work is contraction, or an agreed upon screwing of countless teams in this league by them.
I would agree to that. I don't think Duke would. I don't think Syracuse. I know Boston College wouldn't. They wouldn't agree to that. No, sir. but I don't know. Maybe they've got photos. Maybe Jim Phillips his whole time has had a briefcase full of photos of dignitaries at many of these member institutions, and he's going to blackmail them. And he's going to say, you're going to take a quarter of what you're owed right now, because that's actually what you would earn on the open market. If you don't believe me, go ahead. Call the Big 12, Boston College, see if they're interested in you.
That's a tough one, man. If you're Boston College, like, you've got the greatest deal in the world while the ACC is still around. Because once it's not, you're back to being, well, you're already irrelevant, but you're doing okay for yourself with this current agreement. I've said this before about the ACC situation. The ACC deal, as it's currently constructed and partnered with ESPN, is a great deal for a ton of these teams. Syracuse and Boston College are over the moon about this deal. They're sad that they can see the end is nigh. They know it's coming. They're pissed about that. Duke, too. Lots of other teams in this league that would not be sought after, would not be wanted, are thinking, damn it, man, the gravy train's about up. We got nothing. I ain't got nothing else. Where am I going? I'm back to Skid Row. I got nothing. Nobody cared about us before. They're not going to care about us after. Damn it, man. We waited too long to care about football. We were told years in advance, it ain't basketball. People screamed it from the mountaintops. Hey, dumbasses, stop parading your basketball prowess all over the place and start getting somewhere with football. Tear up that stupid track around your field, Duke. You look like a high school. Wake, I know you got 17 students at your entire university, but if we're going to care to play in the future, you better get good at football. Start letting some kids into that school that can run and jump. I don't care if they have a 2.0 GPA. Let them in. Let's go.
Arnold Palmer is about to pass. You've got to get his money before he does. You've got to get in there.
Did you hear Tom Lang on the Jeff Cameron show? He spelled out the man's death weeks in advance. Go get his money quick. It's true. It's true. No, there are some teams, though, I will say, I mean, look, Louisville's going to end up, don't you think? Louisville's going to end up in the Big 12. They scream Big 12 if ever anybody did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Sorry, academic standards, kind of a shaky school. They belong in the Big 12. It's perfect.
Yes, there's an alternate timeline where they're the Arkansas, member of the SEC. They just don't live in that timeline, unfortunately, because they would play the role. I feel for them. If this whole thing shakes out the way I think it's going to, and they're left out, I think they would be a hell of a lot more committed to living in this world than Vandy would. Than several other schools that Rutgers, several other schools have. They got lucky. They were at the right table, the right banquet table before the meal was provided, and they won't be kicked out, I don't think.
Well, who knows what godforsaken favors Rutgers had to do to get into the Big Ten? Nobody wants to talk about that. Well, goodness gracious, we've heard the rumors. We know why you were cast. That's a tough one. There were a lot of actresses that wanted this part. Somehow Rutgers got it.
Let me take a look at your last name, your birth name. Oh, it's the same as the director. I see what's going on here. Or it could have been that the waste management companies here in Jersey maybe pushed a couple of buttons, make sure that we got to secure our future.
Yeah. No, it's hilarious. But Louisville would jump on that train with West Virginia and be like, we've always been partners. We're a similar spirit. Louisville and West Virginia are almost the exact same school. They feel like the exact same school where you're like, you're kind of a college.
And also Pitt should be in the Big 12 so you could restore that rivalry between Pitt and West Virginia. That would be a nice fit. Even though Pitt, I feel, is a little bit more dignified.
They are. They have a little bit more tradition. Obviously, the great Tony Dorsett, countless linebackers, obviously Dan Marino. We can go on and on. Pitt's had some Larry Fitzgerald. Pitt's had some people.
Right. You could kick out Vandy and bring Pitt in and then put Vandy with Duke and some other schools and some sort of academic.
It doesn't make any sense with Pitt. I don't understand. They had real cachet, real history. They have awesome uniforms. That city has turned around completely. Like from when I first went to Pittsburgh in my youth, in the late 70s, early 80s. That place sucked. It was an ugly place. It was awful. It was not where you wanted to live. Now, people think Steel City, but it's a technology haven. I mean, it's all technology. It's cleaned up. It's beautiful. Pittsburgh's beautiful. You could live in Pittsburgh if it wasn't effing freezing cold all the time. You could really be happy in Pittsburgh. And that university, if you walk the campus, is awesome. Great museums, great library. The academic standards are pretty good. Why isn't Pitt any good? Get it together, Pitt. I've been saying this for a very long time. Get it together, Pitt. I shouldn't say they're not any good. I think the stat was maybe dated now that we've climbed back up atop the ACC. But prior to our recent run, I think Pitt was like the second winningest team in the damn conference in the last 3 years.
Yeah, they scored an upset over Clemson in the last decade on the road. They've won the conference. Basically, they got the stats that our basketball program got when we were, around the third or fourth winningest program in the ACC over the last decade. Second winningest program over a 5-year span, in fact. Right. I noticed I put the decade part. Yes, within a 2-year span, we were really kicking some ass there. That's the funny thing too is you can fund your basketball program without football TV dollars, but you're watching this conference, this ACC, crumble into a second and third rate basketball conference because they didn't take football seriously. And I'm petty enough to really enjoy that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's troublesome in a way. It's all part of the new college sports landscape where you don't have to like it. I don't think any of us do. We like aspects of it. We wanted players to finally get some money. We wanted that money to trickle down to players instead of chocolate fountains at an athletic facility. We wanted that money to be divvied up a little bit more fairly so that a head coach wasn't making $15 million a year and a player couldn't have a job and take his girlfriend to a movie. We knew that that's not right. We got to be able to do the right thing. But we've also seen disastrous aspects of this, and that includes an entire conference falling into the ocean. It just doesn't exist. There it is. It's gone. One of these bastards just up and left us. We didn't see that coming. We were at the annual meetings where everybody gets together. It's Paul, it's Joe, it's Ted, Kyle, Keith. Where is Keith? He's dead. Nobody sent you the email? No. Yeah, Keith up and died. He's going to miss the rest of these meetings. We'll all be sitting around here years from now remembering Keith. We'll say, what happened? And we're going to do that. We're going to sit around and go, man, remember when the Pac-12 was fun? Yeah. Remember when the Pac-12 was really good and their last year, their best year ever, some would argue? And then they up and died. It's a damn shame.
Yeah, if only they had that season in 2017 or 2018, might have changed everything. It could have changed everything. And the sad part of this whole equation is, who looks really smart this whole period of time that we're looking at realignment and betting on horses.
Sankey looks very smart.
Oh, sure. Maryland is my answer. Maryland, very smart.
Well, they get the hell out of Dodge, got that money, kind of fell into it. Provide nothing for that conference, nothing
for $50. In the end with the settlement with the ACC, it's like, hey, here you go. And look at them now. It's not going to do anything for them on the football field, but look at them as an athletic department.
Well, that's been the conversation. There's an air of be careful what you wish for. And I love when people try to apply that to Florida State as if we haven't played well above our weight class for a very, very long time at an elite level. I never understand that. These FSU fans, they're in for a rude awakening when they join the SEC. Get the hell out of here. We have done more with less than almost anybody for long periods of time, 40, 50 years long period of time. Imagine if we did have the same share with the advantages that we have.
Yep.
That's truly why Paul Feinbaum's scared ass cries every day and tries to just make up stuff until the network tells him to stop doing that because they're making a play for Florida State. And then he waits a little while and gets back on the air. It's like, oh, nobody wants Florida State. Paul, don't you wish, buddy? Don't you wish, because you know when Florida State's making that big money, the ass kickings are getting doled out on the regular. I get it. Florida State, just like everybody else in the SEC, is going to see their fortunes come and go. They're going to have years where they go 7-5, 6-6, and they're going to have years when they go 12-0. It's going to be what it is for every other team in that league. It's a hard league. Got it. We're equipped to play in it. And in a world in which there's a 12-team playoff, which will go to 16, you know it will. Who cares? You could have the number one strength of schedule every other year. As long as you go 9-3 in the Power 2, you're going to the playoff.
Well, remember, it's going to 14 like 10 minutes after it goes to 12. And then maybe it'll get to 15 for a couple of years. And then they'll have like some sort of odd number bye. And then 3 bye weeks or something. And then they'll get to 16 eventually. But yeah, it's already expanding. It's already going to that place. Yeah. I feel the fatigue you do when national pundits would say, well, Florida State, you're going to be fine. You guys are fine. No matter where you are in a conference, you guys will be fine. It's like when you have a buddy who's going to have a destination wedding or something. And he's like, well, the only thing they have available are suites. You make enough money. You can make it to my wedding. I mean,
they assume that, they get in your pocket.
It's only 4 days. It's $4,500, and that's before you have to do anything with flights or anything like that. Yeah. But, you got that kind of money.
You got that, Tom. Just spend $10,000 on my wedding. So
right.
what?
We still need a gift. And my registry has minimum of $800 gifts. Like, you make that kind of money. Not considering for a moment that, hey, maybe I'm subsidizing another relative's medical bills. Yeah, maybe my mom and dad are in a bad way, and maybe no, you got that kind of, sure. Why don't you just look in my pockets and tell me how much money I have? Go ahead, please, by all means. You know what? Put your nose down here. Take a look at my pockets. Yeah, let's make this uncomfortable.
They do it all the time, and I laugh. And again, I have called this intellectually dishonest a number of times. All of these people that get on these shows, wow, you're bound by the contract. Do you know how absurd that sounds after you watch Greg Sankey bend over the college football world and break contracts and promises and handshake deals and any number of other things to just go bastardize the leagues around him? Oh, but we have to adhere to a contract. Sure thing.
Well, it's the same network. It's the same people. That's the fun part. It's like they know something that Mario Cristobal doesn't know how to do, which is they use their knees when Greg Sankey's around. They know how to do it. But when it's not about a Greg Sankey team, nope, different rules, my man.
Yeah, it's always good. Florida State, they'll be able to compete. No. No, you know how this works. You kind of look around, right? Watch capitalism at work. What happens? Companies compete. Somebody wins. What happens to this company? Bye-bye. That's how that works.
Kirk, you've got enough money. You could work for CBS Sports. You should be locked in with CBS Sports Network. I'm not talking about like the Saturdays. I'm talking about the one that's on channel 393. Come on, man. You've got enough money. You don't need it. You don't need to be in the primetime game. You should work that Army package that they have for 5 games a year, and that's all you do. You've got money.
I secretly enjoy the Army package. I watch that all. I do. I tune into those games. There's 16 people in the stands. I'm like, damn it, man.
When we had the old cable, you're like, 393. There's a sneaky good game. Southern Miss Army.
I would call you. It's hilarious. We would have these behind-the-scene calls like, hey, noon, Southern Miss Army. It's a 3.5-point spread. I went ahead and put some action on it. I'm going to be watching. Me too. I saw that earlier. I'm excited about that game. I know. I didn't talk about it this week on the show, but it's kind of a good game. Looking forward to it. BC Army next week, buddy. Right there on old 393. Going to be a blast. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The 2024-2025 school year is right around the corner, and Leon County school officials are reminding parents to make sure the children are up to date on their vaccines. Leon County is offering free vaccine clinics to students over the next month to get their vaccinations and booster shot records updated before the upcoming school year. One free vaccine clinic is scheduled to take place at the Leon County Health Department. Bond Community Health Center, the Neighborhood Medical Center, and CDR Health Clinics are also offering vaccine clinics. School districts across Florida require certain vaccinations or booster shots to start a new school year. unless a religious exemption is filed. If parents are deciding to opt out, they'd have to go through the Leon County Health Department to get an exemption. Balloon releases happen all across the country as a way to remember the loss of a loved one, but that form of remembrance is now banned in Florida. The reason being, balloons are one of the 5 deadliest plastics in the ocean. Anyone caught releasing balloons could be given a littering ticket. This is Rachel Lene with your Old Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 94. North winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows level off around 75. High temperatures reach up to 98 tomorrow. Mainly sunny. Chance of thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday. 98 Saturday, 96 Sunday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 89 degrees.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping.
Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps.
Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors.
And we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless.
Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
By the way, that is the other aspect of this when we talk about having like money and being able to compete on even footing, having outkicked our coverage for years and years and years and years and years, and then finally not having to do that, right? Having to, to be able to just compete on even footing would be a lot of fun to watch. But currently it is used against us and effectively sometimes. And that's why I use and talk about this a lot, about the need to expedite all of this. Now, me wanting that to happen isn't going to make that happen. We understand the legal process is what it is, for lack of a better phrase, and it's slow. It takes a long time, and the pressures that will eventually lead to mediation is, you want to see evidence of it sooner rather than later, because that is another aspect we don't talk about. We talk about the money all the time, but we hear in the recruiting circles from people on the regular that all things being equal, you got a great shot at this kid, and he's looking at your school. He's looking at Florida State, but he's also looking at Alabama, Georgia, and LSU. And all 3 of those schools are beating him over the head along with his parents about, I get it. Florida State, tradition rich, great program. Mike Norvell's a great coach. I understand why you'd be interested. Nothing like watching Chief Osceola and Renegade, and it's a great place to play football. But unfortunately, they're not in the right conference. They're second-class citizens in the world of college football. You may be a great player, and you, I'm sure, would add to their rich history of great players. You just won't get the opportunity to be compared against the best. That only happens here in the SEC and sometimes in the Big Ten. So, you got to consider that. We want what's best for you. We'd love for you to play here at Alabama. And I understand you want to play at Florida State, but you got, again, all things being equal, you don't even know if you'll get into the playoffs. You go undefeated. They may screw you. I don't know. It's not us. I don't know how that works, but we saw what happened. And I don't think there's any guarantee that if they go undefeated in that second-class conference that they'll get in to the playoff. I mean, I know currently that if they win their conference, they got an automatic bid, but I'm pretty sure that is going to go away too. I mean, they can't keep giving that conference an automatic bid. At the end of the day, you're going to have to, and also what an NFL team's going to think of you. I mean, every week you're playing NFL talent in this league, not over there, not in that league. There's a whole lot of Wake Forest and Duke action over there. You don't get that here. And it doesn't matter that those are bogus arguments to some extent. Some of it's accurate. Those kids, they hear that over and over and over and over again by way of comparison. Easily influenced. And, long term, we know the financial argument certainly holds up, but that is something that is being used against Florida State in recruiting as well. And that's part of it pisses me off because it's a negative recruiting aspect that I would utilize if I were in the SEC. But they can say it and they can make stuff up to embellish it. And it's you just waste so much energy having to combat that. That's the problem. It's not that, you can't counter that with truths of your own that would show that to be inaccurate. It's that you have to spend any time at all doing that. And until you get out of this league, that is the reality you find yourself in.
Every minute of a recruitment matters too. And because the kids' time is divided amongst their own lives and then the other schools that they're considering. So as you're trying to make it on the short list, if you have to waste a half an hour of a pitch when they're on campus to combat that issue, that's precious time that you've got to answer that question. They go into Mike Norvell's office for the end of the official visit for whatever period of time. But if they've got 10 visitors on campus, man, you don't have 2 hours to reverse course of whatever pitch has been laid before that kid. And you could tell, like, I'll flash back to the Orange Bowl press conference the same day of the snub with Kirby and Mike. Awkward as hell, very weird energy. And you could tell that Kirby was bothered on two fronts. Number one, he thought it was ridiculous if Florida State was left out. Number two, he thought it was ridiculous that if Florida State was left out, why am I not in? Because we're better than Alabama and Texas.
He was rightfully anybody who cares about the integrity of sport was upset that Florida State was left out. So if you have any integrity to you at all, you could not have agreed with the decision of the committee. You knew it was wrong. So he was pissed.
And he said something to that end of, I can't imagine what that's like. I can't imagine, being in his position. And I'm sure in his heart, he feels that way. But then also, guys, you see what happened to Florida State? It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe that happened. Now, we're going to use it on the trail. You best believe we're going to use it because we've got battles with them here, here, and here. And that is now bullet point number one, where you could even, well, coach, they have an automatic bid. Well, you could say, that's fine. But if you go to Florida State and you just happen to stumble once or twice a season, are you going to make that 12-team field? Are you going to make that 14-team field? I know we will at Georgia. We could lose 2 games, not even make the SEC championship, go 10-2, and I'll bet you a 10-2 Florida State doesn't get to Charlotte, a 10-2 Georgia doesn't get to Atlanta. Who do you think they're picking for the field of 12?
Yeah, it's used against us all the time, and it's an effective tool. It's negative recruiting happens everywhere. You got to do it. Everybody's in a fierce battle for these assets, the talent, the 5-star talent. And if you have one of these things going against you that the others don't have to worry about, it's another obstacle that, once we're out of here, you don't have to deal with. It's very frustrating. And I don't think there's any doubt that that's a big part of it. Now, money's the number one reason, but the second is it does hurt you in recruiting. And I've heard that from people that cover recruiting in the industry and people that, have had kids that were contemplating an ACC school and an SEC school or these days an ACC school or a Big Ten school. And this is what's happening. It's very, very frustrating. Our friends at Tried and True are prepared to help you start saving and making some money. It's a good thing. As a business owner, you get to choose between one of 3 offers: $1,000 off a point-of-sale system, no gateway charges for a year, a free video menu or ad board when you become a Tried and True client. The offer is being extended all the way through the rest of this month, July 31st, the end of the month. Get in on the savings. Don't forget, 10% of the net revenue will go to the battle's end. You can look at the QR code there on your screen. If you're watching on Warchant TV, scan that sucker. Find out more about Tried and True and help your business save and make some money. Call Don or Joe today, 844-463-6653, 844-I'm-for-Noel for all the details. Tell them you want the Jeff Cameron special. Who doesn't want the Jeff Cameron special? There you go. Get it. I wonder what that would be. Hey, you saw my buddy Eddie at Gordo's won best fries in the city of Tallahassee. You didn't see it, Tom, but I'm telling you about it now. I'm telling everybody about it. They did the vote. He won.
Is that right? Well,
yeah, he won. Those fries are awesome.
He should. I mean, they've been legendary for decades, so that makes sense.
I can't leave them alone. I'm always like, I should probably eschew the fries. I don't need them. And I'm like, what are you going to leave here without those fries? What kind of decision are you making? Imagine coming back to the house and telling the family you got Gordo's and you didn't bring home the fries. You'd be a fool.
So the Bugala Chugala was the thing I enjoyed the most, the Punka Lechon. And after a while, I was like, man, I need a second option. The second option became the first, which is the sliders, because they've got ground beef and chorizo in them.
Yeah, chorizo is where it's at. Yeah.
Let's see, T-minus about 3 weeks before I'm down there, maybe 3.5 weeks. Gordo's chorizo and ground beef sliders are probably second on the list of things I'm going to do. First, I'm going to say hello to you, and we're going to tee off and play golf.
You're damn right we are. Really quickly, of the schools in the Big 12, let's put a ribbon on this before we go into hour number 2. Of these schools, which is the one you'd want to visit the most? Arizona, Arizona State, BYU. I've been to Colorado. Kansas State, TCU, Oklahoma State. Where are you going? Which is the one for you?
Out of that menu, or can I choose one that's not you haven't listed?
Well, okay, choose the one that I didn't list.
Utah. Not BYU, but Utah.
I failed the Utah. I forgot. I forgot about that. You're right. That would be a good one.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Been to that state. Went skiing. Haven't been back in a long time. I need to get back there. It is gorgeous. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with us, friends. We'll be right back.
Attention Florida, are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Leka Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Leka Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Leka Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLekaLawFirm.com. Hyson Leka Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. And now offering electrical services too. Florida license number CMC 050334.
This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Sellers, are you stuck between wanting to sell your home and waiting for rates to fall? Are you worried about the contingency of having to sell your home? What if you didn't have to? With a 2-1 rate buy down, you can lock in a lower interest rate for the first 2 years of your mortgage and get the home you want now, all while having a higher chance to buy that next home with the contingency of selling yours. If you wait for rates to fall, you risk more competition, sellers less likely to wait, and paying more for that next property. If you're stuck, we need to talk. Give me a call at 954-369-6171. Again, this is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. That's 954-369-6171. And don't forget, for every loan we close for our fellow Noles, I will personally donate $250 to the Battle's End.
Equal housing rent, NMLS number 373031.
I'm Jimmy Facet with Facet Brooks Law Offices, and we believe you. Now, what does that mean? Over and over, we hear from the people we represent that when they shared their story of how they were injured with law enforcement, insurance companies, or business owners, they didn't believe our client's story. That's why you need an attorney that has your back no matter what. An attorney who starts by believing you're telling the truth. We are Facet Brooks, and we believe you. 850-777-7777.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti. Right?
Yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, you know,
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Rays baseball, they lose to the Yankees yesterday by a 2-1 score. That series is wrapping up today as Mr. Cortez goes to the Yankees 4-7. And it's going to be a right-hander Shane Baz starting for the Rays. He is 0-1 with an ERA and 4.5. The Yankees pay out at minus 126 today. The Rays pay at plus 108. The over-under at 7.5 runs. The Marlins yesterday, they lose to the Astros by a 9-1 score. That series also wrapping up today as Roderick Munoz is set to make the start for the Marlins. The Astros are minus 188 favorites. The Marlins are plus 158. Over-under at 8.5 runs.
For the latest odds all the time, visit vsin.com. I'm Matt Pauley. This has been your action update on Tallahassee's Real Talk station, Real Talk 93.3.
This is it. Shop the Lowe's Closeout event to get up to 70% off select major appliances for your home. Plus, get up to 60% off select patio furniture and accessories for your outdoor spaces. So hurry into your local store today because these deals are too good to last. Shop them now before they're gone because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
If you're looking to get a new car, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive. Sure, you love your old car, but you know it's not normal to give instructions on how to open the window. It should be self-explanatory, but it's not. And notice how when you're in other people's cars, you can feel cushion in the seats? That's pretty nice, right? No, it's just normal. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and put the savings toward a new car. It's time. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. There are many companies out there selling pest treatment programs at prices which seem too good to be true. Like most things, you get what you pay for. Let's separate the fact from the fiction. Fiction. The price these companies offer includes all visits needed to keep a home pest-free. Fact. Their prices only include regular visits for exterior treatments. If you encounter pests inside your home, these companies will charge you for additional visits. Is that really pest prevention? At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we always apply exterior treatments, but our plan includes a significant difference. Whenever you encounter an interior problem, Paul's technicians are there, usually the same day you call, and there is no extra charge. With ProShield, you'll never pay extra for providing the service we promised. Pest prevention for your home, and we'll be there as many times as needed to honor our commitment with no extra charge. Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a local company that proudly served the Tallahassee area for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites and any other pests,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
And we make lawns greener, too.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You gotta trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com. Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
course of the day. Can you believe how quickly we will be there? And quicker than you realized. I will say this. Once I found the angle years ago, and I provided that ATM for all of you, in fact, the way to bet on preseason football, which sounds crazy, a little maniacal, a bit degenerate. Money's money. Once we figured out those angles, I realized that our redemption Thursdays begin even earlier than we know, because preseason football happens in less than 3 weeks. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, it's exactly 3 weeks. Yes, it's basically exactly 3 weeks. How about that, Tom? How about that, buddy?
I'm for it. I'm not against it.
Well, this is what I always say about preseason football, or even bad football. You have your football snobs out there. Like I'm a coffee and music snob. There are football snobs out there. And they'll be like, I don't want to watch bad football. And it's true. We joke around a lot about bad football. You get geeked about the return of football at a level that goes above and beyond anything reasonable because we're fans. We're fanatical. And we sit down to watch. You might get about a quarter and a half into a preseason game, and you're like, I could very easily be watching something else. I forgot how much this sucks. Or if you get a really bad college football game, I was really pumped. I was really, really pumped to watch this Tulane Temple matchup, but
Babe, did you say you needed help in the kitchen? Hang on, I'll be right there. This Bowling Green and Wyoming game ain't going so hot.
Oh, well, now, buddy, those are, I would be watching me some Bowling Green and Wyoming. I've got affinities for both.
Yeah, but you would say, I could take this drive off. You know what? Maybe that was the time to take the trash out. This offense ain't going anywhere. This is a travesty.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt you do. Your enthusiasm is sullied pretty quickly. But that said, when you found the angles for, and again, the football snobbery that I hear from people like, I'm not watching that game. You're not? You've been starved for this. We're practically drooling. We're so close to football being here. And you're going to not watch it? My ass. You're a liar. You're a football snob and a liar. You're going to watch that game. What else are you going to do? It's football. You're going to watch it. Because even bad football still features dudes in pads clobbering one another repeatedly. And that's never a bad thing. The violence of the sport is an element that we are all addicted to. We love it. We're going to watch it. There's a higher level, a more proficient, faster, bigger, stronger level of this controlled violence that we prefer, but we like the violence element, and tonight it's on. I'm going to watch them. They're hitting one another. Don't you see this? It's like a bad boxing match between two very average fighters. If you're there, you're going to watch it. You're like, well, I mean, that dude is going to punch that guy. I like seeing that dude punch that guy. It's great. He is going to punch him back. It's worth my time.
This did happen a couple of weeks ago at the local pub where all of the good baseball games took place in the afternoon. So all that was left was, I don't know, some West Coast game that didn't matter. It was on national television. Nothing else was on. And so UFC was put on one of the televisions. I don't ever go out of my way. Don't ever. Not since I was 24 to watch UFC.
Right.
But it was on. And it was something. And it was a fight. And it was a fight.
That dude's kicking that other dude's ass, and I'm here for it.
Next day, everybody's like, I don't like UFC. And then they're all sitting at the bar. They go, ooh, he caught him. And it's just, that's how it goes.
I just kicked that dude in the face. Like, think about it that way. If you're sitting somewhere and somebody just stood up and kicked somebody else in the face, you're like, awesome. That was crazy. That guy just kicked that guy in the face. I'm not going to make a special trip to this place to see that, but if it's on, if I happen to catch it, all right, that's pretty cool.
There's a bar about 12 blocks to the east of where you've been that you probably should expect to see that if you went to that bar. Somebody's going to get kicked in the face tonight. Why are you going up there? Why are you going to Connolly's? Somebody's going to get kicked in the face.
I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome.
Happens all the time. It's going to be awesome. There it is. You come home. It happened. Dude at the end of the bar got his face kicked. It was fantastic. Good old Connolly's. You always know it's going to happen at some point. I could hear their voices being raised, and I knew we were close to a face kicking. It was going to happen. So the real point of any of that was for me to say, there's real live football in 3 weeks. Like, it's happening, and what that really means is that you're going to start getting camp information out of the NFL now. Like, that's, again, it's the stuff around football that you check the boxes. Speaking of checking boxes and how close we are to football, I should have added this to the checklist some time ago because it is right as rain. It is going to happen. Sure as the sun's going to come up, this is a part of, hey, how can I tell football's back? Well, you have this, there's the date. Yep, they got the conference meetings. Yep. Georgia players getting arrested for reckless driving. Happened again yesterday. What in the hell is going on in Athens? They cannot, it's like a bad M. Night Shyamalan movie where you move to a city and you're compelled to drive over the medians. Like, you can't help yourself. There's something in the water of that city and nobody can figure it out. Pedestrians are getting run over left and right just by being there. So you've had people killed in Athens because of reckless driving, because of staff members, players, ex-coaches, just they can't keep it together. They can't keep it on the road, as they say. It's just, I get in a car, I'm in Athens, F it. I'm going 150 and I'm hopping the median. And I'm going to bash people as I go by because we're in Athens. I got to do it. If you're Kirby, you've got to be like, sweet Jesus, what can I do? I've tried everything. We've had people die, and the message does not get through. Starting linebacker Smell Munden and backup offensive tackle Bo Hughley, I think it is, arrested this week on separate misdemeanor charges of reckless driving. That, according to the Athens Clark County Sheriff's Office. Hughley was charged with failure to maintain a lane, improper driving on the road, and reckless driving. By the way, I got to be honest with you. I'm not entirely certain why reckless driving, like you can't stay in a lane, you're cutting in and out of traffic, you're hauling ass, you're by definition reckless. Why is that a misdemeanor? That feels felonious. The documents show he posted a total of $26. That's probably why they can't get a handle on it. You're driving over mailboxes, they're like, $5. On Wednesday, Mondin was charged with racing on a highway, racing in the streets, and reckless driving. And that was at 12:35 a.m. And he, too, got charged with a misdemeanor. You've got a devastating history in Athens. Devin Willock, recruiting staff member Chandler LaCroix, they were killed in a car wreck. You know all about it. Jalen Carter, former defensive lineman, was there. Now in Philadelphia, driving with a suspended license during the night of the accident. That led to, once again, misdemeanor charges. What kind of infraction do you have to be involved in a vehicle for it to rise to a felony? Like, there ought to be special rules in Athens just to curb this behavior. It ought to be just like, if you go 5 miles per hour over the speed limit, it's a felony. We got to get it together, everybody. I don't know what's happening here in Athens, but it ain't safe driving. So we're going to have to figure out what we can do. People effing getting killed did not change behavior in Athens. Guys, we're going to have to up the ante on these charges. You're pulling over, Jerry, going 152 miles per hour at 1:30 in the morning. He wraps a vehicle around a tree, and you're like, $17. Have a good evening. Get it together, Athens. Kirby, I don't know what he could do to address the team other than okay, here's the punishment, guys. I didn't want to have to go here. If you're caught reckless driving, 5 kicks to the face. We're going back to the face kicking. Everybody, we're all going to watch it. It'll be enjoyable for you. It's going to suck for the guy receiving the face kicking. The rest of us will get a kick out of it. And perhaps at least the one who got his face kicked will learn not to drive recklessly.
Well, and it's going to be, look, it's not just anybody who gets to kick you to the face. It's local UFC legend, star of UFC pay-per-views 261 and 264, Ricky Benoit. Ricky Benoit is the one who gets to kick him.
As I brought Ricky in just to show you give you a little taste of what this might feel like. There's a heavy bad. Rick, show him what time it is. And you just
amazing. And when he lands the big ones, he yells his last name as he does it. Benoit. Benoit.
That's going to be the next box to check for me from here on out. Like, okay, we got the video game is back in the fold, right? The NCAA video game is back in the fold, so I can check that box. Here we go. In fact, that's going to be at Games for Less any day now, right on the Parkway.
Yes, and I would say drop the extra 20 bones for the deluxe edition. I think it's worth it. You get to play on next Tuesday, if you drop the extra 20 bones at Games for Less.
Maybe sooner at Games for Less. You never know.
Could be. Although up here, I did make the purchase electronically because I don't have the means to go to George. And
you should do the emoji eyes after I said what I said.
Go ahead and say it again.
You might be able to get that game 24 hours, 48 hours sooner than you get it anywhere else if you go to Games for Less. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. Maybe. There you go. See? There's a good use of it.
So I'll continue to make my point with the emoji eyeballs on the screen. You get 3 days early access for the extra 20 bones, and it downloads for you. It doesn't let you access the game, but you don't have to wait for the downloads and the installs. It's just straight up on Tuesday. I'll be able to play. And I think
so. You mean you just wake up and it's on your console there?
I've already downloaded it. I thought, why is it letting me do this? And then I hit play because it's ready to play, and I hit it. Sorry, not available yet. You can open it on Tuesday.
It's funny if it just said "suck it." Play, suck it.
It's just Triple H from 1999. You knew you shouldn't be here. This is what you get. You're breaking the rules. It's Tuesday.
Cheater. Anyhow, back to Georgia. That's something you could do. You could ban them from playing NCAA football. You could say, nope, you're not allowed. Meaning the game. None of you are allowed to play the game. Put a lock on your PS5s. That's it. You're screwed because you guys can't not drive recklessly. And I know here in Athens, it's just a minor slap on the wrist, a little $7 fine for going 180 in a 20. But hey, that's how we roll here in Athens. People killing people on the regular on the roadways. We are never going to get a handle on it. We don't care. He ought to just embrace it and be a heel. Like at the SEC meetings next week, Kirby gets asked this question because he will, much the way Mike Gundy got asked the question. Mike's like, I'm drunk right now. Anyhow, so Kirby gets asked this question, and he should just go, that's how we roll at Georgia, guys. In addition to kicking ass on the football field and playing for national championships, you drive any way you want. We don't care. In Athens, it's known. Keep your head on a swivel. There's a car coming. And it's coming fast. Well over the speed limit. It may not even stay in the proper lane. You got to have your dancing feet on. You better know. You've got a good chance to get run over here, and nothing's going to happen to the guy that runs you over, because that's how we roll here in Athens.
Guys, I think this is a great drill we can institute for our punt returners. We allow the kids to drive at them. Let's just use this. Kids are going to drive recklessly anyway. Let's get our punt returners out there in the middle of the road so they have to learn how to make the first guy miss. Perfect.
So on Monday's practice, like, guys, I'm introducing something. This was all of you this weekend. You know it was. Get out there on the logo. Let's get those feet chopping. Blow the whistle. Cars from every entrance coming at you. That's what it feels like to live as a citizen here in Athens. Walking the streets with this football team present, you got to be ready. It's on the ready, Athens. You come in here to visit our fair city, you might get killed by a reckless driver who will pay a $20 fine and be charged with a misdemeanor. We like it that way. Self-governing Athens. Just do whatever the hell we want. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Surprising flavors, cultural authenticity, and unique adventures are some of the main ingredients that go into every single plate served at Café de Martin, Tallahassee's best Peruvian dining experience. Led by classically trained Chef Martin, passion for culture, passion for flavor, and a passion for people can be felt from the moment you step inside. Café de Martin also offers an unparalleled outdoor dining experience in the garden. Surrounded by vibrant flowers and plants and nestled between carefully curated decor, the shaded and breezy outdoor garden features elegant live music regularly, and the romantic evening lighting makes Café de Martin the best place to share conversation and connect with the ones you love. Every dish is made from scratch, and every drink is handmade by trained bartenders, offering the very best margaritas and old fashions in the city. Take a trip to a Peruvian paradise right here in the capital city. Visit Café de Martin and El Bar on Capitol Circle Northeast in the Esposito Shopping Center. Open daily for lunch, happy hour, and dinner. Find the full menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Show brought to you by Orange Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
By the way, go check out Garnet and Gold. Great selections, tons of variety. And of course, as I've said before, you go to the newly renovated one over there off of Pensacola, you get into that classic, what is it, the throwback store there, the furthest one down to the right. That thing whoops ass.
The vintage store, the vault.
Couldn't think of the word vintage, Tom. Damn it, man.
Well, it's because you are vintage. You know, we don't see ourselves. We don't see ourselves.
That's what it is. Let's collaborate with my friends at ISF. We love to do that. They are the best and they've been a longtime partner on the Jeff Cameron Show. They've partnered with a lot of important groups around here. I want to bring this up whenever we do ISF and we solve for the future. Your future solved. That's what we do. I just want to say that I talked with my friends, and this is true. This happened today. In fact, on my way into the studio, I talked with Deborah Moore of the Guardian Ad Litem. ISF has worked with the Guardian Ad Litem, Department of Children and Families. They've worked with a lot of wonderful organizations, Second Harvest of the Big Bend. These are all partners that help make our community better, enrich people's lives, save lives in some cases, to be honest with you. And ISF works with groups like that, and they strategize and they manage services and they modernize the IT aspects of it. They do all these things. And I love telling you about that because we love for you to do business with people who do business with us, especially those who help people in the community. But my point would be they need more male volunteers currently. There's a dearth of male volunteers to be advocates or even just, occasional sort of like, I guess you would just say sort of they weekend hosts, things like that. Maybe not at the house, but like you go take a kid to a movie, take them out to dinner. These kids, they need responsible people and interactions that improve and enrich their life and help them learn that there are people out there who have their back, who can help them. They've had a tough life. If they're involved in this, they've had a tough go. As I say, and any help that you can provide, there's a ton of female volunteers for groups like the Guardian Ad Litem and not enough male volunteers. And a lot of these young men need a male role model, and you can do a lot to change the shape and the path of their life, where they're headed. I know this, I've seen it firsthand years and years and years ago, many years ago now, before I was a sports talk show host. I was a counselor for a program in foster care, and I've seen what these groups do and how they can help change these lives for the better. But they do need more male role models and volunteers. So reach out to the Guardian Ad Litem here locally. You can look them up online. Just Google it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But give them a call. I think I'll be cutting a new spot here soon, and ISF helps them. So this is solving the future. You can help solve the future for a young man who needs it. More male volunteers for the Guardian Ad Litem. Wanted to get that message out there today. Okay. Normally, I present the question of solving for the future by asking something football related, right? And we talk about how it's going to be solved. I'm going to give you the answer, Tom. I'm going to give you the answer, and we'll solve the future this way.
What is this, like Jeopardy style solving for the future?
Yeah. Who is Otto? That's the answer.
Well, so Andre Otto would be the answer. And then I have to say who is
Andre Otto?
Well, no, I have to use the form of the question. Hang on.
No, you have to say, what is Florida State's starting right tackle?
I was going to say, if you just said Andre Otto, period, and I'd say,
who is Florida State's right tackle?
Who is the guy who makes the 8-man rotation for Florida State's offensive line?
Tony answered it, our starting right tackle. That's right.
I have to answer in the form of a question, Tony. I'm sorry.
The money.
We're taking your money.
I kind of butchered it, so I'm going to give you the money. There's $200. Next one. Here we go. Do you think he wins the job?
No, my answer, my question is, who is somebody who is in the top 8 rotation for Florida State this fall? It's a crowded room. I know you will roll your eyes. I get it, but Mike Norvell keeps saying it on the record, dude. He keeps
saying,
bring up
Robert Scott again?
He's saying that Robert Scott will be a full go. If Robert Scott's a full go, it gets that much harder for Andre Otto to be a starter at right tackle. If Robert Scott, just suspend your disbelief, all of the tons of disbelief you have in that room over there about Robert Scott. If that were true, wouldn't he be the favorite to land one of the starting tackle jobs if it were true?
Yeah, he would be. That's a big I and a big F.
I know.
That's a giant I and a giant F.
He says he's going to be a full go. I mean, that changes the math.
7 weeks in a row last year, we heard the same thing. And I just said, I'm done with it. I got in fights with you guys on this about this. I was like, I'm done. Stop telling me Robert Scott's going to play and make any impact whatsoever in this football game on Saturday. Well, we gotta say what he said. I mean, Coach Norvell. No, stop. He doesn't. He goes out there for 7 plays. He's gone. That's it. Grand opening, grand closing. Over and over and over again. I want Robert Scott to be healthy for Robert Scott's sake. I want Robert Scott to be healthy for Florida State's sake. I want Robert Scott to be healthy because he's talented. Like, selfishly, he's a talented guy. I'd love to start him at right tackle, Darius at left tackle, and let's roll Big River. We're going to be all right. We'll have 2 monster guards, a beat-to-hell center who gets by on being technically savvy. Been here 16 years, knows the playbook like the back of his hand, understands it all, and somehow survives week after week despite having a shredded back, no more tissue anywhere around his knees. He's just out there getting it, bone on bone. Tell it to Moses McCray style. He's tough. He is tough, but man, I want Otto to start somewhere. That's why I brought it up. I'm solving for the future because I want Otto to be part of that future. I feel like he's got to be. He's talented. He's big as hell. He seems to me to have come a long way fast. He's got a shot to maybe win that battle when fall camp opens up. I think he's got a shot.
Well, he was given important reps in the spring showcase at right tackle. That says something. And, it's unfortunate that Lucas Simmons had a speed bump in his development and his career at Florida State, but he too was trusted with some pretty big reps.
It's like Thrill Hill and St. Pete. A big bump.
2 springs ago, Lucas Simmons was entrusted with some reps that would suggest he could have competed for a tackle job sooner than later. But then he hits whatever you want to describe the size of those bumps as. That's fine, yes. But Otto he's versatile. It sounded like when he got on campus, he might be your future middle anchor of the line. He would be Mo's replacement in a year or 2. Man, he's athletic enough to play it all, I think. I agree with you. But if you've got a guy that is even available for 50% of the snaps in Robert, and then you've got Byers and you've got Jalen Early, who they're very high on competing for that job as well, it's tough to say that he's the starter. It's a hell of a prediction on your part. I think he might be in that rotation, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to speak it into being. But in fairness, if I had my druthers, as much as I like Otto, and I do think he's got a really, really bright future at Florida State, and I believe that, all jokes aside, all sarcasm aside, I think he's going to be a very, very, very good player, and I'm trying to insert him in the starting lineup. I think he's going to be such a good player. I'm trying to get him there sooner rather than later. That said, I did not think this through in the sense that if Lucas Simmons is physically ready to go after that massive speed bump you just talked about, then he should be your starting left tackle, and Washington should be your starting right tackle. If Simmons is caught up strength-wise, his lower half, he's got the body type, the size, the legs, the feet. He's got all of that. It was the upper half that he had to get bigger and he had to get stronger. But he's got, he's a prototypical NFL left tackle, right tackle. He is that 6'8", 300+ pound, crazy armed badass. Length. I'm talking about the length that you want. He's got all of those things. If he's right physically, let's go, baby. This changes who Florida State is. It really does, because he's the caliber of offensive lineman. Again, if he's right, if he's healthy, remember what he was coming in, what he was when we recruited him. He was Atkins, really his first great get, where we were like, oh man, we got us one of those guys that starts, typically at Georgia or Alabama. Like, that's how he looks. That's his frame, weight, length, all of those things. So if he's right, it changes Florida State's offensive line. Really, it's appreciably.
My guess would be his path would be through the right side of the offensive line first, because you want the blind side to be protected by more of a veteran. And now he could, let's just say it's the optimal scenario. Maybe he arrives at left tackle through game reps at right, proving that he has it down. But again, also in the offseason, Mike Norvell has gone on record saying that he believes Darius Washington can be an All-American left tackle.
That's because he doesn't believe that Robert Scott's going to play football again.
Well, I don't think that has any bearing on the All-American part of it. He's like, I am so like
he's trying to infuse the man with confidence. I don't know.
That Robert would have been an All-American left tackle. I mean, so the thing is, if you're willing to specify what side of the offensive line you're going to play on, if you're talking about Darius Washington, All-American left tackle.
That was interesting, wasn't
it? That's a choice where I'm saying, all right, I don't even have to worry about the battle at left tackle. Mike Norvell has declared a winner. He has told you who the winner is going to be on that side. It's about the right side. If Norvell had said he's an All-American tackle for us, he can play either side, big difference. Now you've got two jobs that are open. But, I mean, it's almost like he told you, don't worry about that, dude. That's lockdown.
Yeah, I'm glad, too, and I love Washington, and he's been a loyal and versatile soldier for this team, so I love that he's heaping praise upon him. I love to see guys who are program guys, like I say, that have been here a long time, bought in, worked hard, got better every year they were here, and then get their just due. It seems weird to me, though, because you did bring in I think you brought in Simmons originally when you recruited him to be your left tackle. I mean, he's prototypical. He's 6'7", 6'8", whatever that is, 330 pounds with that length and those feet. Yeah, man, that's why you brought him in, I would think. It would be cool, though, if he's just ready to compete and be out there as a true option at this point at right tackle. That would be tremendous, because that means he will have beaten out Otto. It means he will have beaten out Early. It means he would, at that point, you'd say Simmons is finally really, really healthy and ready to go, because he will have beaten out some pretty good players. You and I aren't as big on Early as a lot of people are. I know our conversations were kind of like,
Yeah, the coaching staff is I think they're a lot more optimistic, and they could be right. Like it's not to say, but I agree. Like that, the way that Andre Otto specifically has impressed in his spring camp, to me, is more impressive than what I've seen from Jalen Early. But that doesn't mean that they don't have something carved out and there's a technique that they know that he can execute that fits exactly what they want him to do. And so therefore he's in the rotation. Like that is part of what makes this upcoming camp really intriguing, is they have a lot of hope in Jalen Early, and they're not speaking about him the way they spoke about Rod Orr, which was they said he's got a giant camp ahead of him. Like they talked about him, they brought up his name, but they said this is a big moment for him. With Jalen, they're saying, oh no, he's going to be good. So it's different. And when you're watching that right tackle battle and you're watching them shuffle personnel, and maybe they'll do a little bit of cross training in the first couple of weeks. Okay, this is it, man. This is the dress rehearsal, because they're talking about you like you're right behind Jeremiah Byers.
Yeah, I want somebody to beat out Byers. He was not good last year. Either that or Byers just improve. Get better, Byers.
You are allowed to do that. Yes.
Tough Love Cameron is here for you, Byers. I'm telling you that now. This is it. That ain't it last year. We got to get better. Got to get better or get beaten out by the aforementioned several young men that we are excited to see play. That was Solving for the Future with our friends at ISF. By the way, organizational transformation, optimizing your operational performance. They can do that. Strategy and operations, they do that. Enabling an efficient, mission-oriented organization to be their very best. Public sector managed services, IT modernization. They'll work with your company. They collaborate. They take your ideas, and they help make you great. ISF.com to learn more. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Donald L. Tucker Civic Center would like your help providing hearty meals to the pups at Tallahassee's Big Dog Rescue. Beginning yesterday, July 9th, donations of canned or bagged dry dog food, pedigree brand preferred, will be collected at the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center box office. In exchange for your donation, you will receive a buy one, get one half-off ticket offer, valid for both Paw Patrol live performances August 27th and 28th. Those attending the show on opening night, August 27th, will have the ability to meet and greet some of the dogs from Big Dog Rescue. A lightning strike is believed to have caused a house fire on Greensport Court. Firefighters responded to the scene and found smoke coming from a single-story house. They discovered a fire in the attic. All occupants had safely evacuated the home before TFD arrived. No injuries were reported at the scene. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 94. North winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight, lows level off around 75. High temperatures reach up to 98 tomorrow. Mainly sunny. Chance of thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday, 98. Saturday, 96. Sunday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 89 degrees.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Jeff Cameron Show rolling on Big River. Didn't I tell you? I knew it yesterday as we were getting ready to sign off, Tom. I said after the Pirates had won 12-2 and I was doing probables, I'm like, well, you know, you win 12-2. That means you're going to come back tonight and get maybe a run, 2 if you're lucky. No, none. We got none. 9-0. Took an ass beating. That's what we did. That's who we are. That's who we are. We will beat you senseless and look like a world beater and turn around and get blanked with 3 hits on the regular. In fact, it's almost a guaranteed result after a butt kicking that we get a butt kicking. That's how we roll.
But I think the good news here is that you figure, as long as UCLs stay intact, you figure to be a fast riser among the National League. And I think this team that I'm watching up here, this National League New York Baseball Club, is starting on the upward trajectory as well. I think we're going to have a lot of fun segments in the next 5 years about Pirates baseball and Mets baseball and postseason prognostications. Things are looking up for you, buddy, and I think things are looking up for me too.
Today is Paul Skenes Day, and Skenes Day means the world to me, as you know. I celebrate Skenes Day in the Cameron household typically by coming home to grill and get everybody ready for the night's fireworks. But it's a day game. It's nothing in the second inning so far. Skenes no hitting the Brewers through 2. We shall see. Already 4 Ks. I have, and it's too late for you guys, I think. Probably no longer going to be fun for me either. But I had a nice run. A stretch for the ages, I tell you. I kept taking advantage of the Hard Rock app bets on total strikeouts on Skenes Day, Tom. And they never seem to go over 7.5. And I just bet the over and over again. And Skenes routinely strikes out 8, 9, 10 guys. And it's just free money. You got 4 through 2 innings right now. He'll probably go well over that 7.5 here within the next 3 innings. And I don't know why they don't up it to some astronomical number now or make it, minus 210 to the over or something, but they keep screwing this up. It's just free money.
So
it's interesting.
Well, did they take it off the board? So you were saying that your run is over. Why is your run over?
Oh, well, they're going to wake up. I mean, there's no chance that that's going to continue. I didn't check today. I forgot to do it today. I had all my golf bets. But I normally it's been 7.5 for 3 starts in a row. And I'm like, well, okay. After they get torched 3 times, I would think that that's going to go to 8, 8.5. It is hard in the modern baseball methodology to believe that you're going to go over 8 or 8.5 repeatedly and win, because anymore they treat these guys, around the 100 pitch mark like they're, made of, tissue paper. They get him out of there. They can't handle the idea that he's going to throw 102 pitches. Oh, he's at 100 pitches, get him out. I'm like, the guy is 6'6", 250. The ball fires out of his hand. Doesn't even look like he's throwing hard. And it's 100 miles per hour. It's all lower body. What are we doing?
That's the key, is if he's not throwing max and he's getting max velocity numbers, then he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if he's trying to choke the life out of the base, well, you don't do that, but you know what I mean? It's almost like locking out in weightlifting. If he's doing the equivalent of locking out, it's going to snap, and he'll be back, and he'll throw 102 again, and it could snap again, and he might throw 100. He might be Jacob deGrom. It might happen. But if he's not max effort, then, and he could be. You're right. That body frame suggests that he can chuck it without having to do some things like other guys who might be stretch guys or middle relievers, setup guys.
Yeah. Oh, well, one of the things you'll notice, and I would love to, and maybe we'll have a chance to talk to Mike Capozzi about this. I mean, I know the theory, like, amongst baseball pitching coaches is debated. Everybody debates this. There are old school guys that don't believe that pampering pitchers to the extent that they do these days really adds anything to their career. Like, they don't get a back end 3 years that they wouldn't have had otherwise. Like, there's no evidence to that end. And that's like, so recently the study that came out about load management in the NBA, right? I don't know if you saw that. There was no discernible proof that load management allows players to escape injury. That they are any better off than they would have been if they just played all 82 games.
Yeah.
And so that practice of sitting guys for, say, 10 games a year just to let them rest in order to prevent injury, there's no evidence that it does. None.
Well, okay, think about it this way. Use your hamstrings as an example. This is the best way it's been put to me. I know it's still a little bit of a mystery here as to the right balance to strike. But you were rudely awakened. That's almost about 10 years ago now that you were rudely awakened once with the hamstring and then twice, right? Didn't it happen twice?
Yeah, it's happened twice, and it's why I'm scared to death to gun it when I'm at Orange Theory. I still do it, but it's like the whole time I'm going, because, man, when you have hamstring issues, it affects you for a long period of time. Yeah, right. It's very, very difficult. Yeah. Okay,
so imagine to train, you had to sprint at all times. It wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Nobody has the clairvoyance of Dalvin Cook to know that it's about to go. Like, everybody, it just goes. But that's what pitchers are doing. Essentially, they're sprinting at all times, even with breaking balls, because they need the RPMs to be so high.
It's the spin rate. It's the chase for spin rate. Yeah.
That used to be the fear before fastball velocity UCL tears. It was you're throwing too much junk as a kid. You're messing up your arm and the leverage you're trying to put on your arm. It's just not going to last. It would be like a world-class sprinter always sprinting, always sprinting in everything they do. They wouldn't make it to the Olympics. They wouldn't make it through trials. That's not how you train. But somehow that's the expectation for a pitcher, is to always sprint at all times instead of mixing up velocities and jogging every once in a while, which is 93 instead of 99.
Yeah, and if you're talking about cardiovascular health, interval training is the key to that, right? You're not always sprinting or always jogging. You're mixing and matching various heart rates and speeds. Yes, it's fascinating to me. I do think the pitching discussion is fascinating because, we've watched. I love to think about this now that I'm older. There are benefits of being older, not many, but there are. And some of them have to do with, obviously, just the forced perspective of having seen a lot of stuff over time to be able to juxtapose against one another, right? Just different theories, different thoughts, different ways of training, different ways of eating, different ways of practicing. And, I find the whole pitching thing fascinating because in my lifetime, we've gone from a guy or two in the league at any given time capable of reaching 100 miles per hour with his pitches. Like, so Nolan Ryan and J.R. Richard back in the day and young Dwight Gooden and guys like that, when they came up, you'd watch and you'd go, oh, well, that's different. That dude throws 100 miles per hour. And it was discernible. Either on TV or in person, you'd be like, no, it's like the sound of the ball coming off the bat of Shohei Ohtani. Everybody says that you hear that. You could have your back to batting practice. You hear that sound. You know that's Ohtani. It's the way Bonds used to be, and certain other players that obviously are able to square it up, as they say, each and every time. It makes a certain sound with that bat speed hitting the sweet spot of the bat, barreling it up. All right. Well, in my lifetime, that's changed radically. I mean, every bullpen in the major leagues now feature probably more than one, most likely 2 to 3 guys that can throw 100 miles per hour. And I get the idea that you take a bullpen arm and you say to him, hey, you're a bridge. You're my middle inning. You're my 6th inning guy. Okay. Don't save anything. Throw it as hard as you can. We know that miles per hour, the higher it is, the more likely it is you miss bats, the more likely it is you strike people out. That there's a correlation with that. We see it everywhere. If you throw 100, you get more strikeouts, period. So I'm fine with those guys coming in and throwing as hard as they sprinting.
Right.
You're doing it for 3 batters. Give me everything you got. I'll see you again Tuesday. And that's it. But a starting pitcher, man, I don't know why we do this. Like, if you get to a place where my starting pitcher learns how to pitch, changes speeds, locations, and can give me 6 to 7 innings and throw 110 pitches. Like, right. I don't know why they don't do that. They still have guys throw 70 pitches through 4 and then pull them. What do we do? Why even bother?
So this was a long discussion last night on the local broadcast, and Ron Darling, who did some things as a pitcher, he wasn't a Hall of Famer, but he said that, for me, if I had a 100 pitch outing or 120 pitch outing, which was very much normal, 120 pitches back in those days, I would all out 12 pitches.
Yeah,
I wouldn't all out 90 to 100 pitches. And if you think about it, you could use the sprinters analogy. There are far more people that can run the speed that Usain Bolt runs for 10 meters than 50, than for 10 meters than 100. And those are your setup guys, or your closers. They can throw as hard as Paul Skenes for 10 pitches, for 15 pitches. They can't do it for 95 or 100. So there's a lot of dudes that can do that. But the problem is, Usain Bolt, Paul Skenes, we're expecting him to run 400 meters at the sprint speed of 100, and he might be able to do it for a while, but he won't be able to do it for nearly as long. And the world expects you to run 800 meters because pitchers are supposed to throw complete games. That's what tradition tells us. So it's different. You're bringing in a sprinter to a long distance running job, and you're expecting that you're going to get those results that those guys in the 80s used to when they threw complete games every other day, every other time through the rotation.
Yeah, I like the idea of there being pushback on this now. Baseball's been awesome the last 2 years, and I know I don't spend a ton of time on it here. Most of the time you guys want me talking about football or getting in certainly to college football and pro football when it starts back up, and I do, and I get that. But I love baseball, and I'm so happy that the numbers are way up in terms of viewership. They did the right thing by pushing through all the rules that change the pace of the game. And you can sit down and watch a baseball game and know that it's going to be over in 3 hours. That's fine. A game starts at 8. The other night I'm watching the Pirates started at 8 o'clock. It was over by 10:40. I was like, all right, there we go. That's amazing. And that's been really, really good. I like that there are more and more people in the game saying, we got to get back to teaching a guy how to pitch. Teach a guy that, look, my man, I know you can throw 101. Go ahead and throw 86 here, 94 there, 101 on the 2-2 with runners at second and third in the tie ball game in the fifth, and throw it by him at 103. Okay, got it. Don't do that again when we start the next inning. I don't need you to do that. And you can go back online now and watch countless pitchers, Greg Maddux being chief amongst them, who are so economical. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's a point in Pedro's career. He did pitch for the Mets. That was his next big team after Boston. And when he first arrived, he was still the tail end of vintage Pedro. He could get it up there around 97, which in those days, 97 for a starter was absurd. 97, 98.
In the contrast of that and his changeup was insane. So, yes.
Right. Then he started to taper off. But I got to tell you, while I would have loved to have prime Pedro for many years,
yes,
it was a joy to watch the 91 to 94 mile an hour fastball Pedro, who changed. He brought his changeup velocity down to match the splits. He brought his slider velocity down to, again, match the splits. It didn't really matter. And before he got hurt that next time, he was basically just as good. I mean, it was a little bit worse. He wasn't as dominant, but he got through games with 94 instead of 97 because he knew how to navigate things. He knew how to navigate the strike zone. And when you have somebody who understands both of those concepts, like late career Justin Verlander can still throw it at 98, 99. He's got a neck issue right now, not an arm issue, but he saves it. He knows he's got 10 of those, and I got to spend them wisely. Like that's pitching. That's the art of pitching, not throwing.
No hitter still intact in Milwaukee with on Paul Skenes Day, everybody.
What inning?
The third. I think it's the third inning. Yeah, I think it's the bottom of the third, but still intact. Still intact. You know, I will tell you, it's a joy to watch a guy who you think legitimately has that kind of stuff. Every time he takes the mound, you go, "Well, this could be special today." Like that's how good he is. His stuff is that good. You're like early on, you kind of think it. Be well, good sir. I'll talk to you later. And the same goes for all of you guys in the audience. We appreciate it. A lot of fun today. Always appreciate you. We'll be back for more tomorrow. I think tomorrow is podcast and video. Are we doing video at all, Tom?
There will be something on this channel, no matter what.
Something on this channel for sure. Guys,